Take your time.
How many times did you listen to the albums, if I can ask? Be real.
Oh, for the Jay Electronica, I'm still listening. Like it's like Jay Electronica is like part of my reservoir right now. Like that's what I'm listening to. So I've listened to it like I listened to it like front through back like 4 or 5 times, and I've been like listening to specific songs a lot. The Weeknd I listened to like twice all the way through, and then I just started listening to like 2, 3 songs.
Nah, I feel you, man. I feel you. We'll go into the review, but like I low key just I was not a huge fan of the J Like album, so like I listened to it like 2, 3 times, and like I had to really push through like the third time.
Really?
Yeah. We'll talk about it more in the review though. But
that's exactly how I felt about the Weeknd.
I mean, honestly, I expected that though. I expected that. All right. Are you want to get started?
Yeah.
All right. Pretend it's like a intro.
Are we doing
what's up?
Are we doing just audio or
Do you want to do video?
I mean, we can. It's a that doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. I was thinking just audio, but I mean, the video can be there.
Okay. You know what we should do? Put this on YouTube or something and have people like be able to like listen in on. Yeah.
Because I feel like there's a medium that you like. I feel like you lose something by like not having a visual, you know?
Exactly. And I feel like this is I don't know. I'm not sure whether people will be interested, like Carlani and them, or like Jordan will be interested, like listening to us. But
yeah,
we'll see. I look crazy.
Yeah.
Because my do-rag is too tight. But at the same time, my hair is terrible, so I can't just like show it.
In that case, I should like hold up.
Light. Crazy. Get that lighting.
You gotta be able to see me, man.
I respect it.
It's in my eye, but we're good. All right, you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right. Let's do it.
Can you see me still?
I can see you perfectly. Yeah.
All right. So what I like about Skype is like when you move screens, unlike FaceTime, you're right. Good. Like you still see me. All right. Okay. Shit. I'm gonna take my headphones off so I can't hear you. Okay. For real quick.
Yeah, looks like a dumbass with that haircut.
Yo, dumb. I can still hear you though. All right. Well, hold on. All right. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I can't do it, Jim. I can't do it. You know what? No. Can you do? No, you can't do it. All right, I got it. Now I got it. All right.
Okay.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dry Pigeons podcast, a podcast on contemporary music, hip hop culture.
It sounds like you're reading from somewhere. Why are you reading from somewhere? This is your podcast. You
In this podcast, we attempt to bridge the gap between. Nah, I can't do this shit. All right, Jimmy, I had a whole intro written out where I was gonna those like really lame like public radio like voice people who like they sound super boring. I was trying to like imitate that.
You know, and be like those people too. You just need to say that shit and then you got it.
That's rude. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right. So anyway, all right. Let me just start off like normally. All right. Okay. All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Dry Pigeons podcast. Why are you laughing, man? Why are you
acting so weird?
My name's Danno. Here's my co-host, Jimmy Amora.
You're terrible, man. You're terrible.
How did you say your last name?
African, that's terrible. I'm a liar.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry, Jimmy. And this is a podcast where we're going to talk about music that's been released in the past couple weeks, music we've been listening to. This episode, we're going to talk about The Weeknd's new album, which is called After Hours. And I can't do it, Jimmy. Jimmy, I feel like you're more fit for the role of being being
the host. I would have called it Dry Pigeons firstly.
Oh my god.
It's all good. You got it. I think it just takes practice. You just keep on doing it and then you get it. So you're terrible right now, but after a couple episodes you'll be good.
Do we have to redo that?
I mean, it's your podcast. We can just go right into it if you want to.
All right. Let's just have you been, Jimmy?
I'm a good man on lockdown right now. On duty too. I guess that's the same. It's the same difference. I'm just got to stay in my room. Make sure the community is safe during this coronavirus season. You know what I mean? I've been chilling. I feel like you didn't ask for that. You meant music, didn't you? You meant like how I've been doing music. Music's been good, man. Music's been good.
I just meant life.
Life.
You interpreted it correctly, man. Yeah. I just meant life. That's good to hear.
Cool.
I've been chilling. Also, I'm starting to write some freestyles. You know, with the coronavirus happening, man, I feel like I've like
don't just slide over that. I've been starting to write some freestyle. What have you been writing?
I'm going live. All right. You have to do something, right, with all this free time you had, or maybe you don't. I mean, a lot of people aren't, right, just wasting time. But yeah, I feel like it's a good chance to try and build up some skills. You know, lots of free time. So the skill I chose, I could be studying for the GRE, whatever, doing productive life stuff, but instead I'm let me try and practice freestyling. I have nothing I can show you because it's just off the top. I'm just was practicing.
You can show me that.
Jimmy, I would love to. I'd love to, but you have to wait until you're at a certain level to show it to an audience, right? If we were offline, I would show you. If we were offline, I would show you. But yeah, no, so that's something I'm up to. Just trying to get by. I feel like one of the beautiful things is that even though everything else has stopped, all the there's no more sports, right? There's it's all soccer, basketball, what I'll be watching my free time is all gone. Mm-hmm. But music, which is another thing I spent so much time doing, is still here. And so now I'm spending way more time focusing on that now, I feel like.
I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. It's kind of provoking. I started to realize that artists are one of my least favorite people in the world. That's one of my least favorite professions, just because of how lousy they are. If there's a lockdown, do you know how much music should have been out by now? I just feel like artists are just the most lazy people ever. They're just people who happen to be good at music, but they don't have any I feel like they probably don't have any sort of dedication or anything. You should be pumping shit out right now. We should have had 5 albums out from great artists.
That's crazy. That is a hot take.
That's how I feel.
I agree. You have all this free time. You should be focusing on writing, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I think you're expecting too quick of a turnaround, though. You want something done by a week.
You're right. You're right. I do feel like it's been a year right now. So I agree with you. I hear you. In reality, it's just been a week.
I do agree, though. I kind of even just a freestyle or something. Just Lucy's, just dropping them out. I agree. That would be something. And I feel like there's content too. You could rap about the situation the world's in, the pandemic or whatever, how it's affecting people. Mm-hmm. You would think a lot of rappers would be on that, but I don't know. I guess they're also preoccupied with like life stuff too. Like, I don't know.
What are they preoccupied with? They're at home.
They gotta readapt. I don't know, like people around them, or I don't know, man. You're right.
I feel like that's just that's the thing. I feel like it's the one profession where you just have an opportunity to be better at what you do because you have nothing to do but make music. If you're like a basketball player, you can't go to the gym anymore. You can't go like play basketball with like trainers or anything.
Yeah, actually, that's not entirely true because like a lot of basketball players have like courts installed in their backyards and they have like
that's an interesting thing. Most of them just live really near their the facilities is what I've been hearing. Like most of them live like really near their NBA like facilities. So they like and they're all shut down. So like they like live in apartments and shit. So they literally can't like.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I think you're right. Like especially like people like the Brooklyn Nets, right? None of them have like houses, right? They're
exactly
they probably don't. Yeah. But like I know like Zach LaVine, like he has like a full court in his backyard.
I did see that. It looks like a dope court too. Like the ground isn't like normal like concrete or something. It's cool.
Yeah, no, I feel you, man. I feel you. Like they have time. They should be putting stuff out. But let's talk about stuff that's been put out recently. All right.
All right.
So just heads up for everyone listening. The way we're going to break this down is me and Jimmy are going to talk about music we've been listening to for the past week or two to start off with, and then we're going to go into reviews of the Weeknd's album, After Hours, and Jay Electronica's album. What's it called? Written testimony. Yeah. Yeah. So Jimmy, I guess like what have you been up to then, listening to for the past week?
I've been listening to a lot, man. I feel like I kind of feel on the same wave as you. I've just been listening to like a ton of old stuff and like going back to it and everything. I listened to Tupac. Which I don't really often do, but I've listened to. I forgot the album name. Maybe it was All Eyes on Me. I think it was the one he dropped in '96.
Is it the one that had Ambitions of a Rider to like start off?
Yes, I think so. And the one with Redman. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. You're right. That's the right one.
Yeah. Listen to that. Listen to a lot of 070 Shake. I've listened to a lot of like non-hip hop actually, which is kind of interesting.
Sorry, 070 Shake, isn't that the guy you told me to listen to? The one that had like an album that dropped this year?
The guy or girl?
I don't remember. It might have been a girl.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember.
Maybe. I'm not sure if I told you. Yeah, I think I did.
Yeah, I remember like I didn't listen to it, but I was like, I told you I would.
Yeah, that's what always happens. I shouldn't have stopped sending you shit. But yeah, I've listened to her. I listened to a lot of obviously we're gonna get into it, but I listened to a lot of Jay Electronica, a lot of Chance, stuff like that.
New Chance or
no? New Chance. I kind of like his. I hated his album at first, but now I'm starting to like it.
The Big Day.
Yeah, the Big Day. Yeah, I kind of mess with it now.
That's funny. I feel like I like that album if I imagine it being like made by like a middle schooler or something.
What? Like you think it's good for like it's a terrible album for Chance? Really?
Yeah, exactly.
I hear that. I think his features have been terrible. Were terrible on the album. Like his features like Nicki Minaj, I think Ferg was on a couple songs or something like that. Like he just like had terrible features, but like other songs were great.
Features, but...
Yeah, that were bad.
Yeah, honestly, whenever I think about it, I just think of Hot Shower, which like that's a terrible song, but it's super catchy.
I really think so?
Super catchy, I think so, but it's a terrible song.
I think it's just a terrible song all the way around. I don't think it's catchy or anything. Yeah, but it's all good. At least you like something from Chance. You don't like Chance, right?
I'm cool with him. I don't know. He's never put out a project that I've been like, this is it. He's put out projects where I've been like, I like 4 or 5 songs from it, but never like the whole thing. Yeah.
I hear that.
Yeah, I've been listening to like older stuff personally. I sent you the one album I've been listening to a lot. It's called Master of the Universe by Binary Star. Never heard of these guys before. You haven't either. You're shaking your head. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's just it was put out in like 2000 by these two guys from like Michigan. I don't even think they make music anymore. But like it's just great lyrics, well put together, amazing instrumentals. You when I sent it to you, you were like, it just doesn't feel like they're saying a whole lot, lyrically, which is true. Mm-hmm. I agree. I actually, like, after you said that, I was like, you're right. Like, they're not saying anything really with the lyrics. It just sounds like the album's essentially like, when artists go on the radio to freestyle.
Like, I'm just got nothing really to say, but like,
just
going off.
But exactly. That's what this whole album is essentially. And like, I fuck with that. I fuck with that. That's just like my thing.
Right. I think we can both agree on the what do you call it? On the instrumentals. The instrumentals were fire.
Oh yeah.
I like it. Yeah.
Hold up. I gotta pull up a lyric real quick. Well actually, fuck. There's like one great line, which I don't think you heard, but like because it was like later in the album, but it was like fuck, like something you don't have enough raps in your like medical kit. Fuck. I got you beat. No, you beat yourself. Oh fuck. Let me reread the
look it up.
Man. I gotta look it up. Hold up. It's on my phone. It's on my phone real quick. Oh, yeah. Okay. You ready for this? Ready for it?
Mm-hmm. Right.
All right. You ain't got enough raps in your first aid kit to treat yourself. Too late. You choose your fate. You beat yourself. Coming like you masturbate.
Repeat that one more time. That's just horrible. Let me hear that.
You ain't got enough raps in your first aid kit to treat yourself. Too late. You choose your fate. You beat yourself. Coming like you masturbate.
That's crazy. It's interesting because it's like a double entendre, but then like the second entendre like overlaps.
Yeah,
the first. If that makes sense.
It goes with it.
Yeah. It's dope. It's dope.
It. I don't know, man. That when I heard that, well, first off, I was like just hearing the word masturbate as like the thing you rhyme with, I'm like, what the fuck? And then like I rewind, I like look at the lyrics, I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah. That was
crazy.
Shit. That's that 90s shit. You can't. That's like that back in Eminem's days and everything.
Yeah. So like, it was like Royce the 5'9".
Oh, his shit. Oh yeah, I'm listening to his shit too. Yeah, that was tough. I liked it. You have opinions on it?
I listened to it like once or twice, and like I don't know, something just made me not go back to it. I think I told you like he had one line that really pulled me out where he was talking about being like anti-vax, like anti-vaccine, and I was like,
you got a couple.
So his child, he was like, oh, it like causes autism. He's on that like that school of thought, right? And like his son has autism, and he blames like vaccines for causing that. So like he's upset, obviously, and like I don't know. I think like that's just like when you're like perpetuating something that's wrong like that. If you're an artist, it just makes you realize also artists are like a lot of them just are not smart people. I mean, just like or like they're like when it comes to like science and stuff. Like they know they have a lot of knowledge to like inform people, but like when it comes to like facts, like science, a lot of them just like
in all honesty, the way I see it, artists are just normal ass people that can just make music really well. Like that doesn't you being able to make music doesn't mean the message you're sending out is like positive or like good. You just make good music.
Yeah.
No,
you're right.
I guess that in the bigger picture of things, I think that puts into question like who we're looking up to. Like, or why should we be looking up to like artists when all they can do is just make good music? Like it kind of doesn't make sense, but it does at the same time because we listen to music. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
I saw a video of a child going up to Blueface at a concert and crying. Like a 6-year-old kid went up to Blueface and was like, "I love you," blah blah blah. And like, I don't know, just like you're right. Like these artists are just people, and they're just given this platform sometimes, like by making a hit or whatever. And they don't change usually how they act based off that, for the most part. So like, it's just crazy to me how like people like idolize these individuals who are just like normal people, and a lot of them are, I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. Anyway. Blueface didn't do shit to like.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Yeah.
He hasn't really done that much of it. Can I curse on this?
Why are you asking me if you can curse, Jimmy? You can do whatever you want.
I don't know. Are you trying to get monetized off of this? I don't know. I don't know what your plans are.
Yo, my friend told me I should like pretend to have advertisements. So I should just be like, this episode is sponsored by Casper and just give a fake promo code.
That is hilarious, yo. That actually be a great idea because people could then maybe potential sponsors would be like, huh, this guy's actually out here doing some shit. I'm here for it.
I'm sure there's like some law I'd be breaking, but like,
yeah,
fuck it, man. I'm in this for a good time now, a long time. Anyway, all right, let's transition to the albums, man.
All right.
So, what do you want to start with, Jay Electronica or The Weeknd?
Let's start with Jay Elec.
All right, let's start with the worst.
Okay. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So Jay Electronica. It's been 10 years since he dropped last, right? At least
a full project.
Yeah, full project.
He's been on some features.
Have you been like waiting on him? I know a lot of people have been like sitting around like.
No, I didn't even. He wasn't a second thought. It was just that the times he was featured on like Chance's songs or like Big Sean songs, he was fire. So then like people are saying this is his debut album. I was like, are you serious? Like I thought he was just an old school rapper who I just never had time to like go back into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I only know him from Control. Big Sean Control verse.
And it was fire. His verse was like flames.
Yeah. So I have a friend who I work with who's like super into Jay Electronica.
Right.
So before his album dropped, I like went back and listened to like whatever his like 15-minute project they put out before was, like the MySpace thing. Right. It actually bugged me. Like half of it was just like half of it was like people speaking, like interludes kind of.
Really?
And I was just like, this is a waste of like time right now.
Yeah.
I got 15 minutes and only 7 or like 6 minutes is like actual like tracks. Like,
right.
So I get why people were starving, because like if that's all you got and then you have to wait 10 years, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting that both of us kind of came into this like without too much like past experience. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. I feel like that kind of shapes like how we perceive the album. We haven't got into that yet, but I think like a lot of the people who were disappointed with this album kind of had a lot of expectations going in based off of what you put out before, which I feel like me and you didn't have. And they also had the expectations of having a 10-year wait associated with it too.
That makes a lot of sense, because people are getting angry over, not angry, but people are disappointed that he had Jay-Z on that too much. And in my mind, I was like, I'll take it. Like I didn't think anything of him, Jay-Z being on there, but they just wanted to hear Jay Electronica. Like they've been waiting for him. So having Jay-Z steal a shine will kind of be like annoying for them. Well, in my opinion, it was just a great project. Yeah,
no, I get that. So that's another interesting thing, is that half of the project was essentially Jay-Z. So it was like a Jay-Z and Jay Electronica like double or joint album. I do think like if it was marketed like that, the reception would have also been a lot different. Like, because like I think a lot of people going in, like we're expecting him to come in like all Jay Electronica, And again, they only get half of Jay Electronica for that whole album, and the other half is Jay-Z, who was amazing. It was amazing, but like, you know, it's still like what expectations.
It's like yeah. Do you think that who do you think did better on the album, Jay-Z or Jay Elec?
A lot of people, I would agree with like the consensus, which is Jay-Z. I feel like. So I guess just general thoughts on the album, though. I think I think people are being too rough on the album. Like I was like just shitting on it just now, but that was like kind of a joke.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good. The only issue is just it was so boring. It was really? So boring. I thought like Jay Electronica as a rapper just sounded like bland, uninteresting. I thought Jay-Z brought energy, but Jay Electronica did not. I thought a lot of the instrumentals were like really messy too. I wasn't a fan of like a lot of them. Did you know that? Did you hear that like this whole project was made in like 40 days?
I think Jay like rhymed about that in a bar. He was like 40 days, 40 nights. She need blood, she need light rice or some shit like that. Yeah,
exactly.
That's kind of great. Do you think that's I don't think that's that short a time. I think that's like pretty good. If you spend like a month and a half on a project, like that's like how long do you think people should be spending on projects?
I feel like I don't know. I feel like the issue is like you had 10 years and you only spent 40 days. I think that's the issue here.
I hear
like that. You had all this time.
What are you even do? That's what I'm talking about with artists, yo. What are you even doing? If you're an artist and you're not releasing shit, like what, you know?
Yeah, I actually have a lot of respect for Jay Electronica after this album because I feel like a lot of it was just like, you know, I do this for me. I don't do it for you. Like I'm dropping music when I want to drop it. Like it's not about like, you know, like I don't want to be in the light, like the limelight. You know, I like to just like chill and do whatever. And then for him, like it might just be a job. You know, like a way to pay the bills.
I disagree, yo. I think if it's your way to pay the bills and a job, I think you should be working at least like 4 or 5 hours a day on shit. Like you shouldn't be like I do it when I feel like or when the bills come in and I'm like getting broke. I just release something. So I'll release like once every 10 years and just get a ton of money off it. I think it should be like I just respect like commitment. Like if you're just 10 years is way too long. Maximum is like 4. You should be releasing shit like every 4 years, in my opinion. And
this is a weird tangent, but I'm gonna take it there. When do you think Kendrick's gonna drop again?
I think this year next or
this
maybe
year?
Next year. Yeah, this year. Because it's been
like
since 2016,
2017,
right?
2016, 2017. Yeah, one of the two. Almost 4 years, man. So.
You know what? I actually take it back. Because I feel like there's something with aging gracefully that when you're at the peak of your career and you're coming down, you need to be able to drop stuff like longer and longer, like what Jay-Z's doing. Like you shouldn't be like Eminem, who's like one of the best rappers alive, but just ruining it every 2 years.
Yeah. I agree with you. But let's go back to the album. It's like the actual like music. I thought it was okay. I thought, like I said, the production wasn't great for a lot of tracks. And actually, Jay Electronica produced a lot of the tracks on the album.
And No ID, right?
Was it No ID? I thought Alchemist was.
I could be wrong. I checked it a couple weeks ago. I could be wrong, but I thought that it was. I feel like I'm mentioning this name a lot, but I was convinced it was Madlib at first because of how much beat changes in between the songs. Like I was convinced it was Madlib that produced this shit, the album.
I feel you, but I feel like this is like way more sloppy than any Madlib like beat. You know, like I feel like a lot of the instrumentals had like good like ideas, but they were just kind of messy. Like that one song, was it Flux Capacitor, the Jay-Z one, where Jay-Z was on the hook, where they did like the Get the Gat thing.
Oh yeah.
Like I was like, this is like close to being really good, but like like you fucked up somewhere.
Yeah, you need Kanye in there for like 10 minutes.
Oh
like,
my god! Just
have him there for 10 minutes and just change up a couple stuff. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think there was a line about Kanye in the album from Jay-Z. Did you catch that? Really? It was like something. I don't like text back like the old Ye or something. Like I don't know. I think he was throwing shade. I don't know.
Gordon.
I don't know. So, but I've been talking a lot, Jimmy. You said you really liked the album.
Yeah, I like my favorite 2 songs were my favorite 3 songs: Blinding, Universal Soldier, and API DTA. I don't know what that stands for, but yeah.
I love Universal Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the beat on that track. And I think the way what was it? I love the voice. Like Jay Electronica's voice on that track is like, I told you he seemed like boring and uninterested in a lot of the album, but I feel like for that track he was going in.
He was aggressive, and he wasn't necessarily like shouting or like angry. He just seemed like he was certain of what he was saying. There's this bar where he was like, that I loved. It doesn't really mean too much, but he said, I wore a ski mask and gloves to the masquerade. In my mind, like imagining that, like him with a ski mask or like to like a masquerade, I think that's just tough.
Imagery, man.
Yeah.
Sorry. I also like the last track. What was it? How'd you pronounce it?
I just said API DTA. I'm looking it up right now, and it says it's an acronym for All Praises Due to Allah.
Okay. So that brings up another question, which is like, there were a lot of like references in the album to like Muslim and Muslim religion and Nation of Islam.
I would argue that that's what the whole album's about. Like a written testimony, about like his experiences as like a Muslim and everything.
I wouldn't say it's all it's about. I feel like that's like a big theme. There were also like a lot of themes. Like a big thing that Jay-Z was rapping about was like being black and like black like subjugation, or like black like how like they try and like beat you down if you're whatever. Like there was like a line of like how they try hot iron your hair or something.
And I would argue that that's kind of under it, because remember the first song where there's this guy that was like as this might actually be the whole thing, where there was this guy that was like, just as a lawyer will tell you what he's about to do and then like explain it, I'm gonna tell you about the Nation of Islam and explain it. And then the album goes to the next song, and then like that might be like all it's about. And then like there's this whole thing about how black people are the true nation of, or not the Nation of Islam, but the true like children of Jerusalem or something like that, and how we're being enslaved and everything because of like the curse that God gave on us or something like that. Some spirit, like a ton of like spiritual stuff. Yeah.
So I have a question for you.
Log one.
I feel I feel like a lot of this album, or like, whenever I listen to a lot of hip hop, just being honest, I can't really relate to too much. Like, if I'm listening to Schoolboy Q and he's rapping about whatever, like, selling drugs or whatever, gangbang, I can't relate to that, right?
Right.
I feel like most people can't. But I feel like people still like, they still fuck with it. And they don't make that's not like a complaint people have about the album. But I feel like people complain about like this album for the sense that like, oh, he's rapping about, being Muslim. There's nothing wrong with that. but I feel like I've seen people complain about the fact that like their issue with the album is that they can't relate to that and to these references he's making about like being Muslim and the Quran or whatever. And because of that, they like the album less, which I think is kind of bullshit. Because it's sort of like you can't relate to most hip hop lyrics. So why is it that you don't fuck with this when you fuck with whatever, like Schoolboy Q, like I mentioned, who I just threw out there, right? What do you think?
I agree with you. I actually, I was about to disagree with you until you explained why. And like now, like, yeah, you're right. Like the same way you get hype or like lit when people start like talking about like gangbanging and everything. Like you should I feel like it's not necessarily like you have to have been through where these artists have been through, but you have to understand the mindset that they're in and like how like interesting and like dope that is. I feel like I've always respected like the Muslim religion, not just respected, but like kind of understood like the parallels between Christianity and Islam. So I kind of so I feel like I kind of connect to it a little bit more than the average person, but I feel like everyone should be able to at least like the music, if not anything, and like the passion that he's like coming through with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Like that's my issue. I think is that I don't see a lot of passion throughout the project, and that's why I'm not a huge fan because it feels just kind of boring for a lot of parts. There was one song I just want to shout out which I really didn't like. It was Ezekiel's Wheel. It was the second to last one. It was where like we gonna see. Are you okay?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Is it the joint with when he was talking about fucking Chicago? He said Lagos or Chicago, and he was like, when he didn't know what to rhyme with. It was bullshit. I was like, what is this? It was terrible to me too. It was awful.
Yeah.
He was like,
he just coughed for a straight bar. I was like, what?
Because he was like, I just don't know. I'm too lazy to find what rhymes with this. It's awful.
I feel like there's always like a fear with like criticizing like lyrical rappers where they're like, you're like, oh, like maybe there's more to this lyric than I'm just like getting. So I feel like,
I don't think so. And at the same time, it's more like if you just don't like something, you just don't like something,
Do you think Jay was better or Jay-Z was better than Jay Electronica?
I think they both came at it. I think that they were both amazing in this album. So I didn't even think about like competition. I just think more of like they fed off of each other. Yeah, but I'll give it to Jay.
Okay.
Electronica. I said Jay.
Yeah, sorry, man. Yeah, that's another confusing part. They're both Jay. Yeah. I thought Jay Electronica was like significantly like Jay-Z, Jay Electronica.
Wait, who's better?
Jay-Z.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
I feel like the big difference was like I just felt like Jay Electronica, he was boring. And I know he's not always like that because like on some tracks like we talked about, like what was the one you mentioned? Universal Soldier. Like he can be aggressive, he can go in, but but I will say the first track that they actually rapped on,
the Ghost of Soldier Slim.
Soldier Slim, yeah. The way that Jay Electronica started up his verse, I was like, this is it. When he was like, when it comes from me
and Hove,
consider it Quran.
Oh yeah, that's cold.
Consider haram. I was like, that was.
Repeat that second one.
When it comes from any of those, consider it haram. And haram's like when it's like when something's like against like the Quran religion, like or like Muslim religion, you can't do that. Like haram's like, oh, like drinking's haram or whatever, like smoking weed, right? So like, oh wait, consider it Quran. I was like Quran or haram. I was like, that was dope. And when he's like that song got me hyped, and I don't know, it kind of tapered off after that. I like Jay-Z's verse in the next song when he was um, like that's why I named my son like the Sir. You know, it was blinding, right? When
it was blinding. You forget where you come from. I
yeah.
send you where you never been. You forget where I come from, or something like that. It was fire.
Yeah. I like when he was like, "You better call my son Sir." That's why I named my son Sir. I didn't realize his son's actually called Sir. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's dope. I don't know why he called him that, but
it's kind of weird. I mean, maybe that's why. I don't know. You gotta call his son Sir.
Sir. That's so. I fuck with it at the same time. It's weird to me.
It's like fuck. I feel like it's weird to name your son that. Like that's like a cool idea, but like I would actually name my kid that. You know?
Yeah, I hear that. It's a little bit weird. And Jay Electronica's verse, like on the second verse, where he was like, I'm looking at it right now, and he was like, extra, extra, it's Mr. Headlines. You signed every contract and missed the deadline.
Yeah.
That was tough. That was a tough way to go in.
Wasn't that when he was like, I stayed up for filing late nights or whatever?
Yeah. Don't you know I've been staying? Wait, where is it? Don't you know I've been staying up for filing late night? I can't even find it. But that joint was on fire.
You're right. That was So that track was great. What came after that? Never Ending Story. Yeah.
Then I don't know. I don't remember anything about it, to be honest. I don't remember what song that is.
Yeah, exactly. And apparently, Shiny Suit Theory was that was like older. That was released like 10 years ago. Like he put that out 10 years ago, and he put this on this album. Yeah. I remember on the first listen, like the first run through I did of the album, that was like one of the 3 tracks I was like, this is great. Like that, I was like, I wasn't feeling it really until I hit that track.
Shiny Suit?
Yeah. Shiny Suit Theory. Yeah. That was like, I'm trailing, I'm on a cloud, they're trailing down below. I take up all my work.
Let it blow.
Yeah.
I mess with it.
Yeah, so the hook was great too. But no, in general, like my takeaways from the album, Jay Electronica, is like as a person, like he's chilling. I feel like lyrically he talked about, I think what you said makes sense. Like he talked about his religion and stuff. But I feel like my main takeaway was like, how he is enjoying not being in the limelight. From Jay-Z's perspective, him rapping about just like, being a success. This is like a big thing he raps about, but like being a successful black man and like how he's perceived, how other black people are perceived in the U.S. And then obviously like the religious undertones are there too, or not even because they're like everywhere.
Yeah, they're there. They're there. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I feel like Jay-Z raps about usually what he did the same thing. Like he always raps about kind of the same thing. How about being successful and black, being how he wants to remain at the top, but people he helped don't want him to be at the top or some shit like that. I think I liked about API GTA is when he was like, I got
numbers on my phone.
Numbers on my phone that I can't call anymore, and I was like, "Yo, it's kind of deep. I can't imagine being in that position." And then I think Jay Elect was like, "I'm texting my mom even though she died." He's basically like he always texts her like even though she's dead. That shit hit. That was deep.
Yeah. I and here's the thing though, man, is like if you're willing to give this project the time of day in terms of like looking at lyrics as you listen to it, you'll fuck with it. But in terms of the sonically how it sounds and like the instrumentals and like just like how they're flowing over it, for me, it did not entice me at all. And the only reason I went back to it for the lyrics is because of like this review.
That's interesting. I would say the exact same thing for the song for the album that you sent me from Binary Star or whatever.
Oh
like,
yeah.
It's just like you can tell the guy can rap their ass off, or those guys can rap their asses off, but it's not something that I'm gonna listen to and be like, yo, can you put that song up again or some shit like that? It's just you listen to it, it's like, that's interesting, and then you just forget about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hear what you're saying. I disagree. I think it's just a great album, but I hear it. I hear it.
Okay. Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Shout out to Jay-Z, I guess. I hope we still get Watch Your Throne too.
Do you think this is it for Jay Electronica? No more music?
Of course. We're not seeing him for the next 10 years. Or maybe never. He might not be around by the time.
Whoa, chill. Relax, all right? The podcast has to still be here, man. What are you talking about? All right.
No, touche. All
right. Let's talk about, speaking of this podcast and speaking of successful Ethiopian men, let's move on to another successful Ethiopian man, Abel Tesfaye, a.k.a. The Weeknd.
That was an amazing segue, my guy.
So he just dropped a new album, After Hours. This is his third commercial. I know. So let me walk you through The Weeknd. All right. The Weeknd's timeline. He put out the trilogy, which is a trilogy of mixtapes that he produced and put out on his own before he kind of blew up. So that's like his whole thing. I think it was a Tuesday, Thursday. It was Thursday, I think. And then Kissland, and then there was another one which I can't. Am I remembering this right? Well, anyway, he put out 3 mixtapes.
Okay.
Well, very well received. He built up a huge online audience, and then he had his commercial debut, which was Beauty Behind the Madness, and that was the album that had I Can't Feel My Face, and then I like whatever The Hills, which is like the the song, often, which blew up, right? He became a superstar. So then there was a break, there was a gap, and then he came back with Starboy, which very, very pop heavy album that had Starboy, the headline track, and like some other tracks on there that did well as well. And then he took a break. He broke up with Selena Gomez, and then he put out My Dear Melancholy, which was a short EP. It just kind of outlined his heartbreak, but how he was turning to drugs and stuff to try and recover, whatever. How he was on the rebound. And now there's this album, After Hours. So My Dear Melancholy, which was the last EP he dropped, was very R&B heavy. And I got into The Weeknd around Starboy. I got into him heavy around that time because I really love that album. I fuck with synth. All right, if there's synth in the song, I mess with it. And that album had a lot of synth. And this album, After Hours, also has a lot of synth.
What the fuck is synth?
It's the keyboard sound where it's I can't synthesizer.
A synthesizer is a musical instrument that generates audio signals. That's weird. Huh. How do you figure out about that? How did you learn about what that is?
What a synth is?
Yeah.
I feel like it's pretty well talked about, and for when you here's the thing, Jimmy. When you transition out of rap and you start listening to more alternative music, like some people,
Okay.
When you make that jump, that leap, you start to hear all these other terms thrown around. So you'll get there someday, man. Don't worry.
But, I hope to God I won't. I hope I just stick to. I hope I won't get into that Starboy bullshit. I listened to him early in high school or even middle school, I guess technically.
That
when
really
Trilogy came out. What? Funny. That was it was about 8-9 years ago, but what do I know? Because obviously I'm 14, but nah, I listened to him I listened to the Trilogy when it came out. Then I loved him, and then the next album that came out, I forgot. I don't even remember. It was just trash to me. And then the next one after that was trash to me too. And then I was like, all right, he just became mainstream, and he's not interesting anymore. And yeah, I just kind of buzz him out because to me it seemed like he was just making the same old music. He was less of like an actual creator to me and more of just a sound for like other great artists to like use for just like hit singles for like the radio and everything.
Wow, I disagree. I I disagree heavy.
And yeah, now this is the first time I'm actually hearing someone go deep into the Weeknd. To be honest, like I didn't know any of that. Like he was like any of like how his projects kind of outlined his like story like along like 10 years. I didn't know anything about that. But yeah,
Yeah,
shout out to him though, I guess.
he's a cool guy for my hair. He stays out of the limelight.
Really, he seems like
He's like well,
he seems like an
he's like
asshole.
well. Why do you say that?
I don't know. I think
From
it's
his
his hair.
lyrics?
To be honest, I think it's his hair. Like
Come
it just seems
on.
like he just feels like he's the shit.
So I think he's grown into that. I feel like he stays out of the limelight for the most part. He's really tight. So he's tight with a lot of artists who I know to be like who I think are like better, like good, like well liked. So like Young Thug, ASAP Rocky. These are like people who like no one really has like bad shit to say about them. And they're all like really tight with the Weeknd. Like no one has anything bad to say about the guy. Right? He keeps a low profile, does his thing, whatever. Those are his homies. But also like, with this album, man, I love this album. So before I go into it, right? Before I go into it, like the build up to it was amazing. So like the first single he dropped was Heartless. Do you remember that song at all, Jimmy?
Wait, I'm sorry. Did I write that song? Because I do be writing for the Weeknd once in a while.
Well, I said, do you remember it? But it's all good.
That was actually, to be honest, if we're gonna go into it, that's the one song I really like from the Weeknd. So yeah.
So that was like the lead single. And I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And then like he dropped a couple more singles, Blinding Lights and the title track After Hours, and they were both like great. But the music videos that he dropped, like with Heartless, I was like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, what is this guy? Like, so like, like the weird look of like the mustache and like the crazy hair and the weird suit.
He's kind of like you, to be honest. He's just fucking with different hairstyles.
I mean,
Ethiopian? Come on now.
Come
on. Are you doing this because of the Weeknd? Don't lie to me.
Which came first though? That's all I'm saying. No,
I don't know how much into the Weeknd you are. Yeah, probably.
But no, I fuck with his look. I fuck with like the whole like aesthetic that he's going for, like the crazy like Godfather Casino like movie-esque like psycho like mob guy. I don't know, just like that aesthetic is dope.
Okay.
The drugged out whatever. I thought it was pretty cool. And his music videos are super interesting. Like I've never been that guy who's like been following like music video like releases or whatever. Right. But like for the Weeknd, like I was like waiting for his like music videos to drop and stuff. And dude, like they are so amazing. Okay, go ahead. So amazing.
Do the music videos are they a talent or no, not talent? Are they art in and of themselves, or do they just work? Are they a whole nother like artistry, or do they just work to complement the song? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I would.
Because most music videos just complement the song.
Yeah. So like, what I would say is like, it's essentially like it feels like he's like a drugged out Michael Jackson. Like that's like the vibe. Well, no, it's right? Like his dancing's like he's trying to do it, but he can't really. But like he's like he's going for it. All power to him. But like it feels like he's like a drugged out Michael Jackson. Like even like the whole music video, like the build up for the videos, and like clearly like they're really well directed. which is very similar to like Michael Jackson's like videos or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's a clear story. He has like a character. This is another thing about The Weeknd, which I'm thinking about. He has like a character and like a aesthetic which he carries for each album or each EP that he drops, or like starting with like whatever, the Beauty Behind the Madness, right? He had like the longer hair. Then you go to Starboy, and it's like whatever, short hair, like whatever. I'm like whatever, like I'm a superstar. I'm just gonna flaunt. And then it gets to My Dear Melancholia, whatever. And then you get to this where it's like psycho crazy, and it fits the vibe of the album really well. And I feel like that's like a very pop thing to do. So maybe I'm overhyping it, but to change your aesthetic with each album. But I feel like that's like something that, like, when I think of Michael Jackson, it's something he did. He would, for a lot of his albums, like you think of Bad, you think of the gap from Thriller to Bad, like he changed his vibe completely.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes he even changed his skin color.
Crazy. Yo, crazy, man. Crazy. Really Maybe that's what's next. All right, The Weeknd's going to say, well, we'll see. Maybe that's next.
First, he got to get to your level. He's got to get to the blonde hair.
Yeah. But no, so that's enough. I feel like it's enough of me like hyping him up and like talking about how much I like fan of The Weeknd and like the release or whatever.
Right.
But I fuck with this album, Jimmy. Like the whole aesthetic he's going for, the sound. There's like one track. The first two tracks are the weakest tracks in my opinion, which I think is a great thing, because when you go into an album, I feel like it's really common for the people to put the best songs at the start, and then just like it kind of like goes down, and then like it comes back up. You know what I mean?
It's better for an album to get better than to get worse. I agree.
Yeah. So I thought like the first two tracks were not great, but then just
I thought the second one was pretty good.
That's funny. That was I actually did not like that song. What was it called?
Really? Let me check.
I wasn't a
Too
fan.
Late? I fuck with it.
Yeah. I thought it just kind of like went on for a long time. There wasn't like, I don't know, just like it wasn't any like song structure for me. It just like felt like I don't know. He just is. The reason I like The Weeknd compared to other R&B artists is because he flows over a track, but he's kind of like rapping over it in a way. Or when he's singing, he's just straight singing. Mm-hmm. I feel like a lot of R&B guys like Frank Ocean just kind of vibe along. Like we're just going to vibe along to the track. And I feel like The Weeknd doesn't do that. He actually follows a structure, which I appreciate.
Right. I hear that.
I talked a lot, man. Jimmy, what do you think of the album?
You know a lot more about the album than me. I started listening to it, I was like, this is not a problem with R&B. It doesn't really hit like that. It's just you can just zone out and forget you're listening to anything. So that's kind of how it was with me. I feel like he had some bars and which really hit. Like I think in Heartless we had bars. And I feel like it was just a vibe. Like it was really a vibe. I feel like I heard a lot of house music, if I'm not wrong. It sounds like there's a lot of house music type instrumentals in the album.
I would say
that I kind of got from it.
Yeah, I mean definitely like dance music for sure, but I would say like not so much house, maybe more like I felt it was more like 80s like dance music, or like
You're right. Because I was listening to it and I thought of Taylor Swift's album, 1989 or some shit like that. I was like, this kind of translates a little bit. The instrumental, yeah. Have you listened to 1989? Welcome to New York. Welcome to New York. I fucking love that album. I think it kind of works.
You love that album?
I don't love it, but it's great. It was great because I remember there's a point in time. This is kind of a tangent. There's a point in time I kind of hated her for beating Kendrick Lamar for the best rap album, for the best album of the year. And I was like, what the fuck is this 1989 anyway? So I listened to it. I was like, yo, this is pretty damn good. This is not bad. So yeah, I kind of hear some of that in The Weeknd's album. Not 1989 specifically, but like kind of where 1989's like muse was. Like I wouldn't be surprised if that was the same muse for The Weeknd.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I never knew that about you, Jimmy.
About what? Like in 1989?
Yeah.
I fuck with it.
But no, yeah. So it's definitely that influence in the album for sure, and like that aesthetic and the sound was something he was going for.
Right.
But you didn't. You said it was just like background music to you, right?
It was background music. There were a couple songs I didn't like. Yeah, there are actually a lot of songs. Most of the songs I didn't like, I just forgot about. Like, you know how like in rap, like if a song's terrible, you just can't listen to it anymore. Like it's just awful.
Yeah.
These ones are kind of like, I don't know. It's just you can just forget about it easily. I think
Wow.
Snow Child or Snowman or something like that. That was
Snow Child.
I didn't like that.
What?
Don't die.
Wait, time out.
That.
Wait, what about? Did you have to like the line futuristic sex, futuristic sex. She want that Philip K. Dick.
I don't know what that means.
He's like I had to look it up too. I was like, what the fuck does that mean? He's like a science fiction writer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah, I just didn't like it.
I feel like this is definitely an album where, like, we talked about, going back, like, with the Jay Electronica album, you had to go back to, like, understand what he was talking about, right?
Right.
Like, to, like, try and, like, understand, like, the lyrics fully. With this album, if you listen to it once, you kind of get the gist of it. There's not really any clever wordplay, really. You kind of get it all in the first listen. Yo, why do you have a flip phone, man? What the fuck? What is that?
I'm a gangbanger, so I gotta have my bird on me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Moving on. Yeah. But no, I thought it was just great. I know you don't get a lot like from repeat listens from the lyrics, but like just like the vibes, like it just if you're in a mood, you just listen to this album and you're like, yeah, like this is what I want. And then
I kind of hear that. I feel like I'm not in that mood right now to hear something like that, or to listen to like an album like this.
Yeah, yo, Jimmy, get some chapstick. I feel like there are not a lot of. Oh,
okay,
God.
Okay. You definitely could have texted me, but it's all good.
It's all good. I'm never gonna forget. There was one day where I was like outside your door, like outside Kent. Like when I came back to visit, like with the bleach hair, and like you came up to me, you're like, "Oh, what's up, man?" And you're like, "Yo, you told me get some chapstick." I was like, and then I just started licking my lips like furiously. I was like, "Oh my God!"
But me and you were alone. I would never say that to someone like, except like you just did it, so I'm gonna come for you now. But like, I would never say it like public or anything.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. I was fucking with you, but
oh, you're terrible.
Nice.
All right, continue.
Well, let me talk about some of my highlights from the album. So like after Too Late, I was like, I don't know if I like this, but then it got to Hardest to Love, and what I love about that track is like the little like the percussion, like how it just like when he's singing like I've been the hard. Oh my God, I'm so bad.
I think no, I think you're right. I mean, you were terrible, but I think I know what you're talking. I know that song. I know like the vibe of the song. It wasn't bad, but it was like just a singing song. It wasn't necessarily R&B. It was like legit like
that was like yeah, but that was like that made me want to like that was like dancing music. I never want to dance really, but that song made me want to dance.
Right.
The next song was like Scared to Live, right? Where he was like, and that song was that was beautiful. Like that was just like a showcase of like his ability to sing. And I don't know, just amazing song. Like, I don't know, like I think the difference between like you and me here, Jimmy, is that I am more than happy to keep coming back just for like the vibe and like just like I fuck with it. And for you, it's like maybe just you want something more like more than just surface level pop music, which I don't think this is. I think like the instrumentals here, like not a lot of pop artists would go for this. I don't imagine any other pop artists like today doing something like this.
Oh, I hear that. I respect that. I hear that. I feel like I don't know. I feel like we don't see too many black pop artists going for this.
I mean, true. I mean, who else is there? I guess like Frank Ocean pop. He's like R&B.
No, I don't listen to any Frank Ocean.
You wouldn't hear Jason Derulo doing this, all right?
Exactly. Yeah. Jason Derulo won't be doing this shit. I don't even know where that guy's at right now. But
he's been for a while, man.
He's been what?
He's been around for a while. I was like looking up like an old song, like I was making a playlist of like middle school, like whatever jams.
Right.
He had like a song from 2009 that was like a hit back in that day. I was like, what the fuck? Like, this guy still makes music, but you still think of him as like a young guy. I don't know.
Do you? I think of him like as an old school. I don't think I've listened to a new thing by him in college. In my college like time. Like he was.
I think I agree. I think I agree, but I feel like for me, he was like big when I was in high school, and maybe freshman year of college. And
okay, so in your mind, so 2009 is like really early for you.
Yeah, exactly.
I hear that. I think he used to be. I think he used to write songs for people, for like big artists back in the day.
Really?
Yeah, he was like just a songwriter.
But I love this album, Jimmy. I can't say enough good things about it. It's my shit. Like this is just it was made for me.
I need to listen to it a couple more times.
I think like I want to like say like what my favorite tracks are, but I feel like from Hardest to Love to Save Your Tears, all of those tracks I love.
Oh wow!
Like that's like 7 tracks, 8 tracks. God, I don't know, but
that's the album.
That's like the whole fucking album. No, it's dope. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what else I can say. I love it. I love what The Weeknd's doing. Like he could easily just be making straight up basic pop music, but he's like pushing himself to go for this like different vibe, which I just really appreciate. And it's just interesting music, which you don't get from anyone else.
I hear that
right now.
I give you the fact that he's evolving. Like I feel like there's a ton of artists that are just the same old bullshit. They were hot like with their like second or third album, but when they just make the same shit, it's but he's like actually evolving, which I really respect. Like he's not the same person as the trilogy.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like this whole thing of like this whole aesthetic is like it's really common in like whatever like alternative music for people to try and go for this aesthetic, but most of them don't have the backing of like whatever producers the Weeknd has access to, right? So they don't make as good instrumentals, but also B, like none of them have his voice, so he's just like doing all this like this subgenre exists of like whatever synth heavy pop music, but none of them do it as well as him. So you just have to really appreciate when you just see someone do it this well and just make it sound this good, and just like the lyrics like all like fit the same vibe of like Loss, and then like whatever, like it's so good. I can't say enough good things about it. This is my album of the year so far. I'm gonna say it now. Wow. Now obviously on my rap album of the year, my album of the year right now is this album.
You mind if I check my music real quick and like see what?
Yeah, let's go through the albums that dropped this year real quick. I think we're done with like the reviews.
Pretty much, yeah. I wish I had more to say about the album, but it was just a basic album to me. So.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's all good. It's just not my genre. You know what I mean?
I feel like you had more to say about the other album, about the Jay Electronica album, than I did. So I think it evens out.
That works. You know Jack Harlow? Jack Harlow.
Nah.
He's like a DC like rapper.
A YouTube rapper?
A DC rapper.
Oh, okay. I was like, Jimmy, come on.
God forbid. That's not me, yo.
Like, damn. Like, what are you up to?
Oh, Janae Aiko's album was fire.
I need to listen to that, actually. I don't know what I'm doing. That was like a big album, too. I don't know what I'm doing. Did you like Lil Uzi's album?
I can't. No, I don't. I listened to like half of it or like a quarter of it, and I was like, I just don't like Lil Uzi. I'm not a fan of him at all.
Yeah, man, same. Yo, Jimmy, can I start sending you like non-hip hop albums?
I'm here for it. I wanna compare because I feel like the Weeknd genre right now or subgenre that this album's in. I have no idea. Like I don't know anything else apart from this, so I can't really compare it to anything. So I would love to like get into that specifically.
You gotta have a gateway. Like you gotta have like one guy who you listen to just kind of like touches like a subgenre, does like a crossover, like some rapper like crossover, and that's like your gateway into that genre, kind of. You know.
I'm here for it. Yeah.
If we're talking strictly hip hop, has there been like a great album this year? I don't know.
Not really. In all honesty, I feel like it's M. Huncho, this British rapper that I sent you, but you never listened to him.
Yeah, I did not listen to him.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Let's see.
This album is 2019, but I listened to it in 2020. Like the first time I listened to it. Please excuse me for being antisocial.
Nah, man. I know Roddy Ricch. Nah.
Yeah. Nah. We don't count that.
Nah. No, I don't really fuck with the album that much.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's to me. That's a quintessential like great hip hop album. Like that should
really.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go back and listen to it again, but I don't even like The Box that much, man.
It wasn't the best song in the album. I'm gonna give you that.
I'll go back.
Me, it was a top 3.
I'll go back.
Halsey, you listen to Halsey, yo?
Nah.
Oh wow, I love her.
She's like the person who like was on SoundCloud and then blew up, right?
I don't think so. I don't know her origins. But I don't think SoundCloud was around when she blew
up. Yo, Jimmy, there's not a lot of music here, man. You know who I'm excited for, though?
Who?
Smino.
I fuck with Smino. When is he coming out with something?
This year.
I'm here for it. But you can't trust artists. Like it might be 2021, 2022 with their bullshit.
He said the album's done. So, yo, what'd you think of that track I sent you? Was it VPN or whatever?
It was cool.
VZ,
I like it.
I can't remember what it's called.
I don't
Tempo.
I feel like it sucks because I don't really go on SoundCloud too often. So like, I don't listen to as much as I should. But I fuck with it.
It's gonna be on Apple Music soon. He's just trying to like find new cover art for it. So
that's bullshit. You should just
Yeah, man. There's not a lot here. I don't see a lot of music that I would say is like. Not a lot of hip hop albums. Like Blueface dropped an album last week. Low key, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible, but
really?
It wasn't that good.
Word.
And then the Childish Gambino album was not good. It was terrible in my opinion. Not even worth your time.
I listened to it. There's one song that was pretty okay. I just don't like artists who don't like who what?
You don't name their tracks.
No, that was terrible too. But I don't like artists who can have complete songs, but they're not in it. You know, like
it's just an instrumental or like an interlude kind of.
Not just that. It's like I think there's a woman singing, or is that him with a high voice? I don't know.
I don't remember. It might be. I think it's him because he does like a lot of voice stuff. I think the only features were like 21 Savage and Ariana Grande.
Yeah,
on the whole album. It's just like I don't want to go into it, but the fact that he doesn't name the tracks, the fact that he has like an all white cover, no actual logo, Like the fact that he just like doesn't even give the album a name. Like it feels like he's just like he's doing too much, and like if anything, he's putting less work into it. That's all it shows to me. Like it doesn't show more thought into the release. It's like, oh, this is like 15, like, or whatever, 16 and deep. Like, oh, I'm so deep. Look at me. Look, this means so much, even though it's just like you're just not even caring it, naming your shit.
You know what I'd respect a lot more if you said it was, because you said his excuse was it was like a sequence, right? Like it should be one complete song. I would respect the hell out of it. I might not like it, but I respect it if he had one 50-minute song.
Yeah,
that would be special. That'll be something.
I mean, yeah. I think for him, I mean, this is like obviously like the business end of it. That would be like killer because like it would kill number of streams, but like still like yeah. But no, my biggest thing for the also was like it sounded like he wanted to. It was like someone trying to be like Kanye, you know, like and failing, like where he was like I'm just trying to like, you know, the instrumentals were kind of like out there a bit, like his vocals were like kind of out there. He just failed, and like the whole idea of like naming songs and like albums like by the day you made it and not giving them names, that reminds me of Kendrick Lamar's Untitled Unmastered. But the thing with that is those were all throwaways, but they're still amazing.
But it was an amazing project, which is kind of crazy.
Incredible. Yeah. Incredible project. But they were all throwaways and weren't named because, you know, they weren't actual songs. They were just throwaways.
They were throwaways. But this one is an actual project.
Yeah. And like you're still not naming them. I think it takes away from like the significance of the songs. He named like two of them, but not all of them. I don't know, it's weird.
In all honesty, I would give it to him if he was like, yo, this might be the case, but he was like, yo, coronavirus, it stopped everything, stopped production for my movies and TV shows, and I just wanted to give you guys something, and then he just like put something up and like sent it. I would respect it, to be honest.
I would have been completely fine with that.
Yeah. But I respect it.
I agree, but it's definitely. I feel like if it was that, he would have said that.
Sure.
I feel like.
Sure.
Because like I'm with you. Like that would make sense. Like then I'd be like, okay, like you just threw this together. Like the bar I'm gonna hold you at's a lot lower. Like you're just like, this is like you weren't prepared to drop a project. You didn't really put thought into this. Just kind of threw it together and gave it to us.
Right.
But he put thought into this and was like, this makes sense. I'm gonna give it like I'm gonna not give it a name. I'm gonna not give the tracks names. I'm gonna give just two of them names, but not the rest of them. This is fucking stupid. I don't know.
It was awful.
Anyway. All right, I guess we had 3 reviews there, man, not just 1 or 2. I guess we also reviewed the Gambino album.
They gotta pay us more, especially your sponsors.
Yeah, man. All right. So again, guys, thanks to Casper Mattress for sponsoring this episode. Use promo code DLEMU at checkout for 5% off your purchase.
There you go. Casper
Mattress. Yeah.
Crazy.
All right, Jimmy.
Watch him see you. All right, yeah.
All right, man. Peace.
Appreciate you.